Hello and welcome to Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. I do really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support that I get from all of you on all the platforms, from iTunes to Spotify to iHeartRadio to Stitcher and everything in between. So thank you very much for downloading today's episode. Today we're going to talk about why you need a community. I just got back from San Diego, California. For those of you that follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see many pictures from the New Media Summit, where for 2 years now, for two events, I have been named an icon of influence. 40 podcasters have been chosen as icons of influence in the media, and people come to this event to want to share their message and get on people's shows. So someone who wants to spread the message might come up to me and say they're a good fit for this show and this is why. And in fact, there have been a couple people who have already been featured on the show that I met at last year's New Media Summit. But I'm not here to talk to you about New Media Summit. You heard that show with Steve Olsher a few weeks ago. I'm here today because of the importance of community. And for so long, I didn't really have one. I grew up, for those of you that know, in Pennsylvania, and the one thing that makes me sort of different and unique in my whiteness is that I grew up Greek Orthodox. My last name is Greek. I come from a Greek and Italian family. And while most of the people around me were either Catholic or Protestant, I was Greek Orthodox, and that made me a little bit of a minority. And I really appreciate that. So for a long time, I actually had a very strong community within the church as I was growing up. And I felt a part of something bigger than me, not just because it was church, but because of how we came together under a collective umbrella and the relationships that were built over time through that. And I'm not just talking about my church. When I was in high school, there was something called Teen Soyo. I'm sure it still goes on. And Soyo stands for, I believe, Syrian Orthodox Youth Organization. And so it's all churches in the archdiocese from around the country, and they get sectioned into like the eastern region and the southern region and the western region. And I was part of the eastern region, and I was on the board of the eastern region at one time as a secretary, maybe as a vice president. And so every year we'd get together and have meetings about the teen groups and the different things and projects we were involved in. And it was really an amazing experience. I really wouldn't change anything about the way that I grew up in the church. It taught me so many things about being disciplined, because the Orthodox faith is a little bit more, well, let me just say this. The Orthodox faith offers you an opportunity to be more regimented for a higher purpose. And maybe we'll talk about that on a different show. Today's not the right day for that. But the point I want to make is that I grew up in a strong environment, in a strong community of people in the church. And my parents are still part of that community today. Sometimes your community is your family because that's what you grew up with. There's a group of people together that you lived with and you saw all the time at holidays. And so by default, they're your community and they're your tribe. And of course, that's very important. I don't want to dismiss that. But the reason why I'm going to handle it a little bit lightly is because your family might not be your tribe. Your family might be your lesson. Your family might be the reason and the lesson that you're here in this incarnation to learn. So you came into a situation where you're different. And that's okay. In fact, I would say that I bet you a lot of families, if they were really to be honest, feel like they don't connect with other people. I think we all hide our true feelings and repress our true feelings because we think, well, you're family, therefore you should love me and I should love you and I should respect you and you should respect me. And we have these unspoken rules about how we treat each other. And that only goes wrong when there's a problem and two people don't agree on something and someone wants to blame somebody else for how they feel. And then we move into these family dynamics, which everybody has. Everybody has them. And if you don't have them, you probably have a lot of repression going on or unhappiness, or you're just sort of asleep. And if you're asleep, you're probably not listening to my show. I definitely do not attract unconscious people. So family is definitely, and your tribe is the one place you start getting community. Church and your religion is the next. From there, we move to different sports and school and college and groups like sororities and fraternities and athletic teams and drama clubs and bands, show choirs, things where it brings a common interest together. So, and all throughout our lives, we always come up against having different people who have different interests, and we consider it a community. What happens, and what's happened to me as an adult for sure, is that sometimes it's that community, I outgrow it. It doesn't serve the wholeness of my being, and it doesn't serve the path that I'm currently on. And that's not to say that these different groups don't have value. It's just that there are some people, and I'm one of them, who kind of go at a really faster pace. I learn very quickly. I evolve. I love learning. I love evolving. And I find myself on a trajectory that's maybe a little bit faster than other people sometimes. And so it's been very difficult and lonely over the years for me to find communities where I feel like I can be myself, completely myself. And from networking events and masterminds to groups that I've created on Meetup for spiritual people and entrepreneurs and people that love salsa and dancing, and even, the dance community. Oh my gosh, I love the dance community. I have a whole tribe of people who salsa dance with me. And, when it comes to salsa dancing, you don't need to talk too much. You just need to love dancing and going out. And so I've made some great lifelong friends in the salsa community. I've been changed by the salsa community, but the salsa community doesn't share all the other things that I have going on in my life, like being an entrepreneur and being a podcaster. And so one of the things I want to encourage you to do is to really take a look at your life. And I know that this show, for a lot of you, and having podcasts to listen to, connect you to me and connect you to other people that you hear to remind you that you're not alone, that you have thoughts and feelings and beliefs and desires that other people share, and we use words and ideas and concepts that maybe in your family or at your work or within your current friendships that might be a little woo-woo and not acceptable. So you dare not say anything. So you secretly listen to my show, and you maybe are a part of my community. And part of this show today is really to invite you to get involved, and it doesn't have to be in mine, but it is to get involved in a community. Because if you're here listening to my show for spiritual growth, and you want that nurturing, that filling your cup up, while you can get it from me and from this show right now, it's so much better. It's so much more impactful. It hits every cell of your being when you are live in person with other people. And if you can't be live and in person with other people, the next best thing is to be online with other people. And so we've got that May manifestation challenge coming up here in a few weeks. I'm going to start letting people into the group around the 23rd. So if you have already signed up and you're waiting in the wings there in the Facebook group to be let in, I'll let you in around the 23rd of April so that you can start watching all the videos, listening to the podcast that sets you up for the vision board if you want to do that, and listening to all the instructional audio so you know what to expect, so you can utilize at best everything that we do in that 30-day group. The next thing I'm going to invite you to do is to consider coming to one of the events. I love my venue, the January event, Releasing What Weighs You Down, and the September event, The Next Big Step, will probably stay exactly as they are. And here's what's going to happen in time. Because it's a limited amount of people I can fit in the room, the price is just going to keep going up. Because as you come and as you experience and as you revel in the relationships and the transformation and the tools that you get and the enrichment in your life, I don't want to change the venue. I don't want to invite 200 people to an event because it waters down what we're able to do. So if you're thinking about being a part of the community in a more active way, I definitely would encourage you to this month, April. You still have 2 weeks left to save $100 off of the September event. And I haven't recorded a video yet to tell you and to go into more of what we're going to be doing at the event. And I know the videos definitely help you to feel into what it's going to be like to make that decision. But just know that if you've watched the January video, it's going to be that and more. Actually better. Better in that it's not about detoxing. January is like about the detox. It's about getting up and saying, this year I want to be different. I want to change and release what I'm grabbing onto, holding onto, dragging around with me. And it's like a freeing in January. September is like a kick in the pants. It's that, what do you really want to be doing that you're not doing? What dreams do you have that you're not acting on? We don't want to have any regrets in life. We want to make sure that we follow through with those impulses that we get to make the world a better place and to do something meaningful and creative and inspirational and life transformational, and take our pain, as we talked about in Allison's episode last week, taking your pain and turning it into your purpose so that your pain has a purpose and you don't feel like a victim and you feel like this was for a reason bigger than myself. When you can turn around and help someone else going through what you've gone through, the satisfaction you get in that and the connection you get to divine, there's nothing else like it. Your pain starts to diminish because you understand that it wasn't about you. That all of this is happening for a very divine and perfect reason. I had a lot of those things happen this week at New Media Summit. As a podcaster, obviously we sit behind a microphone in front of a computer. There's nobody else here with me. And while I do record live sometimes with people in their studios, and I may start recording more in the future, taking a mic and going around to people, it's a lonely experience because you're driving in your car, you're walking your dog, you're working out, you're getting up in the morning. I don't see your face and you don't see mine. And while I so appreciate all of the positive feedback and you guys sharing my show on Instagram and tagging me and telling me about it and writing to me, I love the fan mail. Keep it coming. I love knowing that it's making an impact in your life. I still don't see you and I don't get to hang out with you. And I want to provide that space for you. So remember, just keep the events in mind. So I go to this podcaster event, and what I love about it is it's a bunch of us podcasters who all have our own shows. We all have our own stuff, and we're not trying to sell each other, but we can respect that we're all on the same journey. It's so cool to be with people that I normally would not be hanging out with, but knowing that we're on the same exact journey with our business and our show, even though our content's different. What came out of the room this weekend, besides meeting a lot of wonderful people who listen to the show now, thank you. If I met you at New Media Summit, I do appreciate that. But what came out of the room also for the podcasters was we have a mastermind at the end of the week that it's just us and we're talking about our businesses and we're talking about events and marketing and growing our show and all that kind of stuff. And again, the ideas that get created. There is something that happens in a room full of people when they come together. Napoleon Hill talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. It's as if everything gets elevated. It's almost like another entity is created. Like think about your relationship or any relationship. You have two people that are individuals, but yet then there's a third entity that's the relationship. How your energies come together to make that next thing. And it's in that next thing. It's in that higher level consciousness of energy that everyone contributes to where magic happens, where things that you wouldn't have thought of come into your awareness, where you feel seen and heard and supported and validated in a way that you never have before. And no one's really doing anything specifically to make you feel that way. It's a byproduct of being around like-minded people. There's an ease and a trust and a release that happens when you can look around and say, everyone in this room is on a similar journey to me. And boy, doesn't it feel nice to know I'm not alone. And then I get to ask questions and talk to them about things that interest me and things that excite me. And now I have resources and connections all over the world. And things like New Media Summit, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be invited back to the next one. So that'll be my third one. And I'm deepening the relationships that I have with these podcasters and some of the guests that keep coming to all the different events. And again, those relationships help to sustain what happens in between. Because again, it's, especially for me, I realized last week, I told my husband that I'm not really in the world sometimes. I'm with one-on-one clients. Sometimes I'm speaking in front of groups, but it doesn't happen every week and it doesn't necessarily even happen every month sometimes. And when I'm speaking to you, which is one of my most fun things to do, I can't see you and we can't commune together. Well, not like this, but we absolutely can commune together, which is why I needed to create events to give you an opportunity to come meet with me and everyone else who listens to the show. But there is one more option, which of course is the Manifestation Challenge group. And even if you don't want to come in because you feel pressured about having to do something, nobody pressures you. If you just want to come in to see who's in there and from time to time ask a question or read some comments or see what people are going through, you can do that too. Trust me, nobody is following up with. We're at like 200 or 300 people right now, and there's nobody who's going to ask every single person if they're doing their audios every day and they're doing their visualization every day. It's not possible. But what it is a community of people who can ask questions of each other because they all understand that something in your life, you want to be better, you want to keep practicing, you want to dedicate yourself to your own happiness and wellness, and you can find the support in that group. So if you don't want to do the challenge, that's fine, but you want to come over and hang out in the group, you can do that. But again, I only let people in whenever we're doing a challenge, so this would be the time to get involved. So the importance of community is really not just about having a group of people who you kind of like. In fact, I want to encourage you to check in with yourself on the very deepest level, and ask if the community that you're in right now is fulfilling enough for you. And it doesn't mean if it's not to leave it. It just means you might need another community. That's what I do when I realize that I'm not feeling grounded and full. Those are the words that keep coming to me. I'm such at a calm place right now, feeling so connected to so many people all over the world because I met with them, I communed with them, I ate with them, I drank with them, I danced with them, I meditated with them, I went in the hot tub with some of them, I walked down the street with some of them, I heard their story, I heard their pitch. We shared a moment. We saw each other. It's so important. Now, again, remember, I'm not the 9-to-5er. I don't go to work and see a bunch of people all the time. But I know for me, when we got done with my January event, even Jeannie Peters said, and she sees people all the time, says how important it is for us to commune with like-minded people on a regular basis, to keep our spirits up, to keep reminding us of the connection that we have to everybody, and to get that nourishing soul food. That's what it is. It's soul food. It feeds your soul on such a deep level that makes you better to be able to handle anything that comes in your life, in your work, in your relationship, with your children, with your friends. So I'm not saying get rid of your groups. Just make sure you're in a group or find a group that provides you what it is you need. And if you can't find one, do what I did and make one. Go to Meetup, create a group, name it something that turns you on, describe it in a way that you would go to it if you read that description. And then, Meetup is, you have to pay for it if you're hosting one, but if you just want to find a Meetup group, it's free. And Meetup is not sponsoring this podcast today. It's just a great tool to use for people to get out from behind their computers every so often, not all the time. I'm not saying you have to be in the world all the time, but the importance of community is something that just enriches our lives in a way that nothing else will. Really, nothing else will. Not one person, but when that community is connected on a deeper level. Today's show is going to be short because it's my review of what's been going on, and I really, 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 really wanted to spread this message of community. I want to ask you guys a question about the show formatting in terms of that right now I'm doing once a week, but for those of you that listen to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, I'm wondering, would you want 2 shows a week? I know some of you reach out to me and you find the show and you binge it and you listen to 40 episodes at one time. And it takes you a couple of days. And so I'm wondering, are you running out of content? Know that I've got the Fit to Love podcast, which has 2 seasons and at this point, over 400 episodes. But if you want more of this, I need to know that you want more Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. That I would only go to 2 days a week, and it would only be for Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. It would be not on every channel. So reach out some way through social media, email, let me know. Facebook, whatever, however you connect with me. If you're in one of my groups already, you can do it in the group and just let me know what your thoughts are about me moving to a 2 show a week for Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. Okay? So take a nice, good look at your life this week. Really check in with yourself. Find a quiet space for you to contemplate whether or not you're in a community that feeds your soul. And if you're not, let's find you one. Or commit to being more active in this one, and supplementing it with maybe something locally for you that you find on Meetup. I love you. I appreciate you. And without you, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing and being able to give my gifts to you because I don't need the feedback. Of course, I could be recording and nobody listening, but it keeps me going to know that it makes a difference for you. That's why I do it. So thank you again for downloading the show. If you love it, please share it and let me know about the 2 days a week. And go to jjflizanes.com to the free tools and resources if you want to join the Manifestation Challenge, or go to jjflizanes.com if you want to come to one of the next events or buy a virtual ticket and be a part of this community.